from the Post Millennial. Yuengling sponsors PA Pride drag show for families.
Yuck.
Quote, need your drag fix before our iconic Music Fest drag show? Well, the Queens return to Music Fest Cafe Press by Yuengling on June 30th. So here's what I want to clarify. They deleted this tweet. That's very interesting. The venue's title. The venue is called Music Fest Cafe presented by Yuengling. That's the name of the venue. So if you were to host a birthday party there, you'd say, hey, show up to Music Fest Cafe presented by Yuengling. That's where the party is. However, a lot of people are trying to use that as an absolute defense of Yuengling. I don't think it's an absolute defense, but I think it is a decent one. They say the festival's Facebook page wrote on June 12th. This post was well on Twitter. They deleted it on Twitter. Timcast news team reached out. They confirmed it is an all ages drag show. You can bring your kids. And they confirmed that it is still going on, and they don't know why the post was removed. That being said, I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Yuengling, you got to boycott them or whatever. I'm gonna be like, you guys need a statement on this one. Yuengling needs to say, if that is the case, be like, look, we sponsored a venue, and the venue does what they do. We didn't know they were doing this. We're not okay with that. And I think that's satisfactory as far as I'm concerned. But considering what's been going on, considering the Bud Light effect and the backlash, I think people are probably already boycotting Yuengling over this.
I think it's possible that Yuengling might even be too afraid to release a statement because they might be thinking not enough people know about this yet. And if we release a statement, more of them will, and it will upset them. And we don't want the Bud Light effect to occur here.
Well, at least about 45,000 right now know about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, if they released a statement saying, we are sorry we sponsor this, if they, and being honest, like if they genuinely didn't know what was happening, then please say that. I'll go out, I'll buy I can't say I'll become a customer for the first time because I already drink Yuengling. But if they were intentionally sponsoring this and they're going to continue to sponsor this stuff, then no, I will not buy Yuengling
anymore. If Yuengling puts out a statement and says, not only did we not sponsor this event, but we are condemning it and we stand against it, I will go to the local liquor store and buy all of the Yuengling they have right now.
Yuengling, give me an excuse to buy more Yuengling. That's what I'm asking you for.
But here's the crazy thing. The venue deleted the tweet. I wonder, so my understanding is that the former head of Yuengling, very pro-Trump. And I think the family is conservative pro-Trump. I think maybe the tweet came down because they got wind of it, because people were tagging them in it, being like, what's this all about? They probably said, hey, take us off that. We didn't sponsor this event. And so the tweet got removed. Apparently, people are saying they edited the Facebook post to remove sponsored by Yuengling or whatever. But the event's still happening, and the venue is still a Yuengling-sponsored venue. So I still think it'd be appropriate for them to issue a statement. But the point I was going to make, it's been a very bad Pride month for the Pride people.
Very good Pride month for me.
Yeah, I mean, someone mentioned in Super Chats that Xbox did bring back their Pride logo. But either way, the fact that there's been pushback at all, the fact that the workers union at Starbucks says they were told to take down decorations, the fact that Target said hide it in the back, right? This stuff's being pushed back very, very heavily. Yeah, it's been a bad month.
I think it's pretty incredible, and I think it tells American consumers the power that they actually do have. Yeah. I think so often we hear like, it's happening anyways, or you don't want to like draw attention to yourself, or you just let them have the month or whatever. And this is the first time you're seeing the tides turn with substantial evidence that if you are irritated enough, you can in fact enact change.
Well, you know what I think these people didn't understand? Conservatives have always been against this, but mostly didn't care. Moderate liberal types mostly just don't care. And they were like, yeah, live and let live. Then they started going after kids, bringing in these books that were gratuitous, targeting children, doing these weird things. And then they lost the moderates. Yep. The moderates now went to the conservatives and said, please help me get this smut out of my child's school. And now the conservatives are like, yeah, we're going to get rid of all of it. Yeah. Yep. So now it's all getting pushed out.
Target still sells the Love Wins doormats and stuff like that. And you want to say like, actually that is a very long time ago. We are well past that being the issue, the core issue for this group. And I think that's the problem. I think now that they've moved on to pushing a genderless society full of people who are torturing themselves physically, people don't want to do that.
Which is so funny because the whole purpose of being gay is your gender. But then there are multiple genders. It's like, so then which one is it, right? Like,
are you bisexual if there's more than two genders?
Only two.
Remember, Johns Hopkins for a second, but it took it back, said lesbians are non-man.
Yes. Oh, you're a non-man at the table.
The interesting thing about that, so this was like this week, I hope probably everyone knows this, but Johns Hopkins had the definition for a second, and they say they disavow it now, but a lesbian is a non-man who loves other non-men.
Yes.
But Johns Hopkins was the first. The Johns Hopkins Medical
I'm
Center.
sorry. It said a non-man attracted to a non-man, and so my explanation was that means that magnets are lesbians.
That's true.
Oh wow! That's
So
a good
remember,
point.
we're erasing
if they're both
women.
negative. Yeah.
True.
Right. Well, no. Opposites attract. Negative and positive, north and south.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
right.
So that means I got one for you. All matter, except for that which comprises a man, is a lesbian. You know why? Because
That's true.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Because mass attracts.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they
non-men.
left the term man in the definition of gay. So
Yeah.
Right,
it's
right.
just lesbian that gets to be not gendered. But I was going to point out that Johns Hopkins was the first medical center in the U.S. in 1966 to offer a change of sex surgery. Like, it is indicative of the direction they're drifting. The only reason that they stopped being at the forefront of gender ideology and gender medical intervention was because their chief of psychology, Paul McHugh, I think I'm getting his name right, was like, no, if people have a gender issue, we should help them, but we should only treat them for psychological issues. We should not offer them physiological medical intervention. And that stopped it for 30 years. He's the one who campaigned to make sure these surgeries weren't covered under Medicaid. And then eventually Johns Hopkins University was like, no, we really want to make the money. But that's my editorial there. But we are actually going to embrace this. And now they have one of the leading gender, I don't even know what to call it, gender centers in the US. Like, this was something that has been happening for a long time. And I think the fact that this school put out a definition, got hit with backlash, said, oh no, we didn't mean that. We're just trying to be respectful of all genders. Like, they are telling you the direction they're going in. They have been doing this for decades. And yet people say like, oh, well, they fixed it, so we'll just let it go.
Yeah.
They said they didn't mean to erase all the lesbians. So, it's fine.
Erase just women in general.
Just all women.
Yeah,
And this is something
all
Phyllis
women.
Schlafly, I mean, I wrote about this during Women's History Month. Phyllis Schlafly was warning against this when everyone was campaigning for the Equal Rights Amendment. She said repeatedly that it wasn't about giving men and women equality. It's about erasing the differences between men and women.
Always.
I just want everyone to hear that over and over again. Like, it's not about helping women. It's about deleting the differences between genders, which is inherently destructive to society.
To the family, right? That's the whole point. They don't want men and women. They want men and women to not know how to relate to one another, so that we'll have weak families. Because if you have a weak family, you have a weak society, and then there's less of a competing authority structure for the state or whatever perverse ideological worldview they want to try to build out from the ashes.
I don't want to live in a genderless world, and I'm very comfortable with that. I feel like everyone should be against that.
I got good news for you. You never will. They'll try to push this stuff, but ultimately men are men and women are women, even if they don't live up to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, depending on what happens with the chemicals in our foods, birth control, and things like this seeping into our water, and maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's only the 15th, right? Is it June 15th?
June 15th today.
We still have half the month to go. Let's see what happens.
It's been a wild ride.
No group has done more harm to gay people than gay activists, and you can change that for lesbian, trans. I've been on the show a bunch. The audience knows I'm married to a dude. I don't really care about it. No one cares. But we were talking the other night, like we were out in the field doing something in the farm, and Andrew, my better half, who doesn't talk, he's pretty quiet, farmer, and he was like, remember 10 years ago when like no one cared? And he's like, isn't it miserable? He was like, I never,
Wow.
He's like, and we're in our 40s. He's like, I've never been more embarrassed to be gay than I am right now.
Wow.
And we live on a farm in the middle of nowhere. He's like, it's just miserable. I'm like, no, I get you. He's like, it is miserable. He's like, it's just miserable. I mean, so no one has hurt gay people more than gay activists. And I wouldn't put the trans movement as the head of that. But like, honestly, 10 years ago, it was so much easier. Like people would be like, oh, it's Pride Month. And like, yeah, for a second, like, yeah, I don't care. Like, just leave me alone.
But I don't think it's gay activists. I think it's leftists.
Well, yeah, but leftists. But
Leftists in general.
Well,
these are white liberal women.
That's true. They've used us the way they've used BLM, the black people to push BLM, the way they've used Greta Thunberg to push green issues, right? It's just miserable. Like, the best thing you could do to celebrate Pride Month is just shut up. Leave it alone. And I do agree with you. When they started bringing in the kids, it's when people like Andrew and I were like, we want nothing to do with this. Oh my God, this is so freaking weird and disgusting and perverted.
And now the argument is becoming, because we've talked about it, we've had people ask us, do you think gay marriage was the slippery slope to what they're doing now? And
Probably.
I'm like, but I disagree. I'm like, when we say like, look, like as you mentioned, you and your husband are off doing your own thing and you're on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't care about that. Like, you should have the rights and access. And I've had that position my whole life when it came to the gay marriage question. Just because something happens and then another thing happens doesn't mean that one is the fault of the other, right?
Well,
Because that argument is what they use to try and ban guns. They say, oh, when more people have guns, you see more gun death. And it's like, well, okay, sure, but that doesn't mean you don't have the rights. I'm not going to take away someone's right to keep and bear arms because some people do bad things. We ban those bad things, get rid of it. We protect the good things.
I don't know that it's gay marriage itself. I think it's the corporate, the money around lobbying for gay marriage. Like, once that victory was achieved, we had to then take all of this momentum that we had and turn it into something else that we could sell and make money off of. And that benefited the medical industry that pushes trans ideology. It benefits corporations like Target that can sell you a rainbow t-shirt and say like, look, I support you, and drag you back in. I don't know that it's like the legal issue, but I do think it's that all of the momentum that it had to go somewhere. And someone was like, I have decided I'm going to steer the ship in this crazy direction, and they will follow.
I think if you're a communist, you're never satiated. And
Yes.
so they won, quote unquote, victory. I'm sure you think it was a victory. They won the victory of gay marriage. But like that wasn't it. It was like, what's next? And it's the same with like the green movement. They never are like, well, we got that, so now we're done. It's like, nope. The same with the guns, right? We got our loopholes. Not enough. What's the next one? What's the next? I think the left is never satiated with, they don't ever have one victory. One victory just leads to a greater one. And I agree with you. I think like marriage, like should people, whatever you can argue, we can all disagree. And that's wonderful. But no one was like, all right, we're all done. Everyone should close up shop.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.